Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as District Attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the right and privileges of all its citizens. It doesn't figure, Dave. There has to be an answer somewhere.
Now you know what we've been up against, Mr. Garrett.
All those fires in such a short period.
Every one of those buildings was insured by my company, and every one of them a total loss. When I checked with Inspector Reed from arson, he said they didn't have a shred of evidence to go on. That's why I came to see you. We're going to need a lot of help.
You've been an investigator with Byron Fidelity for quite some time, haven't you?
Long enough to know one thing: insurance is big business, and it's always been legitimate. We've always had the faith and confidence of our clients, and we intend to protect their interests.
I can understand your position.
We want whoever's responsible for those fires. And one way or another, we're going to get them.
Well, I'll do all I can to help. As a matter of fact, after you called me yesterday, I got in touch with Reed myself. I've known him for years. He's one of their best men. He's keeping me posted on the situation. And from the information he gave me, I've spotted the location. Notice how the fires are scattered throughout the industrial section. A dry cleaning plant, furniture store, the medical supply house. I'd say they were definitely planned.
Yes, but by whom and why? As far as I can see, if it isn't a juvenile gang, it must be a pyromaniac.
Oh, maybe one of the insured.
I'll admit we paid out close to $1 million in claims.
Maybe it's someone on the inside, someone connected with the company getting a cut every time they pay off a claim.
That would be almost impossible to do. Besides, I've covered everything.
Mm-hmm. Personnel, insurance brokers, salesmen.
Your theory's good. The only trouble is none of these people would get a chance to profit from the insurance. There's too much red tape.
It all leads back to the client, doesn't it?
Suppose you're right. Why the sudden outbreak of fires? Why all at once?
You give me the motive and I'll give you the answers. Hello, Garrett speaking. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When? Right, Frank. We'll be right over. Inspector Reed, there's been another warehouse fire on the east side. The Maurice Leonard Fur Company.
That's one of our clients.
Well, we better take a look.
I'll get the car and meet you in front.
10 unexplained fires in less than 2 weeks. Collins has a right to be worried. But if this keeps up, there won't be much left of the city to worry about. Frank. I think you know Dave Collins.
I certainly do. How are you, Dave?
Fine. Sure looks like a mess.
It's just like the others. Obviously burned at high intensity. All the hardware is melted. Door handles, hinges, things like that. Not much anyone could have done.
And you still have no evidence. Nothing to indicate how it started.
Don't get so excited. I didn't say that.
Well, what do you got up your sleeve, Frank?
Come over here. I want to show you something. There's your evidence.
Fur pelts.
Looks like mink.
It was. It's the first time we've been able to save anything recognizable.
Is this all you've got?
It may be enough. See those small white particles in there? I think we'll find they had something to do with the fire.
Well, how soon can you let us know?
We'll have to run a test. I'm having every inch of debris sifted for evidence. We'll take the whole thing back to the lab. Maybe we'll find something, maybe not.
That's a good idea. While you're doing that, we'll check everyone connected with the fire. We might as well start with the man who sold the insurance.
Alfred Hartman, he's a broker. Has an office downtown.
Well, I wish us both luck.
And said policy will cover bodily injury, medical payments, and deductible collision. Oh, hello, Mr. Collins. Come in.
Mr. Hartman, this is Paul Garrett, District Attorney.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, this is rather an unexpected surprise. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
You here on business or pleasure, Mr. Garrett?
Well, actually, we'd like to talk to you about those recent fires, Mr. Hartman. It seems you've been handling the policies.
That's right. I've already told Mr. Collins all I know, but if there's anything I can add...
Well, did you notice any particular pattern? Anything that might give us a lead?
You think there's something funny going on?
Well, wouldn't you say 10 major fires in less than 2 weeks is rather peculiar?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes. I didn't want to admit it even to myself, but after the third fire, I notified the company.
He's right about that.
How long have you been handling Byron Fidelity Insurance?
About 1.5 years now. Believe me, I want to see this cleared up as well as you.
Well, of course. What about that warehouse that burnt down?
Warehouse?
The Maurice Leonard Fur Company. The fire occurred this morning.
I didn't know. They haven't filed their claim as yet.
Was there anything unusual about their insurance?
No, straight insurance. But there was one thing. Let's take a look at the files. Yes. He sent in a reporting form policy about a month ago.
A reporting form policy? What's that?
It doubles his insurance for a period of 3 months, covering additional furs he had in the warehouse.
Well, may I have his office address?
My secretary will be happy to write it down for you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Hartman.
Not at all. I hope I've been of some service to you.
I think you have.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And we understand you doubled your insurance policy about 2 months ago, Mr. Leonards.
That's right.
Why?
I had more than the usual amount of furs in storage that were being readied for shipment to my various fur salons throughout the country.
Well, doesn't it strike you as coincidental the fire occurred when it did, when you were most heavily insured?
You don't think I burned those furs up myself, do you?
Oh, I didn't say that, Mr. Leonards. By the way, how long have you done business with your broker?
Mr. Hartman? About 1.5 years. I wish I knew what started that fire. Sorry I wasn't more help.
I thought you did very well, Mr. Leonards. We may call you again.
Anytime. And let me know what happens.
We will. Well, that didn't help much, did it?
Do you think he was telling the truth?
Well, we'll find out. He's either a very honest man or a very good actor.
The chemical analysis report from the lab. It looks promising. So does the evidence taken from the fur pelts. Compared with a known substance, it might give us the lead we're looking for. The shape of the particles, the structure. There's little doubt that the two materials are identical. The result of the chemical analysis will give us conclusive identification. Someone sprayed the interior of that warehouse with raw phosphorus.
Now we know how the fires were started, but we haven't determined what device was used.
That's it. The fires all occurred during the weekend when no employees were around, suggesting a time device. And raw phosphorus is highly incendiary. It has to be kept underwater. You couldn't just scatter it around with your hands.
And how does it burn?
On contact with air, it begins to oxidize. Friction and heat cause it to ignite. The stuff goes off like a Roman candle on the 4th of July. And all we've got left are these pieces of metal.
Well, keep working on it, Frank. Dave and I will try to trace the phosphorus. It's about the only lead we've got.
Lab, Rick speaking. Just a moment. For you, Paul.
Hello. Yes. When? I see. Thank you. Well, we've got another fire on our hands. Some janitor called it in. It's just like the others.
What?
A box factory on the west side.
At least we know how it started.
Maybe, but while we're standing here unable to do anything, some maniac is running loose, burning up the city.
What about the janitor? Couldn't he tell them anything?
I'm afraid not.
Why?
And by the time they got to him, he was dead.
The only clue we have to the fires is raw phosphorus. Maybe the chemical supply houses can give us the answer we're looking for. The list of people who've purchased the phosphorus in the past 6 months might pay off. The one remaining customer on our list could have no use for it. Why would raw phosphorus be ordered by a fire extinguisher company? And one that is covered by Byron Fidelity Insurance.
We'd like to see the manager.
Well, I'm the owner. Can I help?
Yes, Dave Collins. Investigator for Byron Fidelity Insurance Company. Mr. Garrett.
How do you do? Tom Crawford.
Nice to know you, Mr. Crawford.
Won't you sit down?
Thanks. We're making a routine check of fire hazards.
Well, I'm happy to say we don't start fires. We only put them out.
Let's see, you've been assured by our company for some time, haven't you?
About 2 years now.
Exactly what type of fire extinguisher do you manufacture, Mr. Crawford?
Oh, most of the standard types. CO2, dry powder, soda acid.
That calls for a lot of chemicals, doesn't it?
In quantity, yes, but not in variety.
You have much use for phosphorus?
How's that?
Raw phosphorus.
No, that's incendiary material. Be the last thing we'd have around here. Why do you ask?
Oh, no particular reason. Just curious, I guess. Thought you might be using it for testing purposes.
Our equipment is very reliable. Every extinguisher that's in use is checked once a month. It's part of our service.
Must keep you on the go all the time.
Oh, not too bad. I usually make my pickups and deliveries on Thursday and Friday. If you'd like to look around now,
Sure, sure. We didn't mean to keep you from your work.
That's all right. I was just paying off some bills.
Frank, my office traced the phosphorus. What are you doing with that?
Paul, I think I've got something for you. These pieces of sheet metal taken from the fire,
Yeah?
I finally traced them down, analyzed them in the spectroscope, ran a chem test. I can prove they came from a soda acid type fire extinguisher, like that one right there.
So what? You'd expect to find the remains of a fire extinguisher in any industrial building.
Yes, but not in pieces. It'll still be intact.
Are you trying to tell us fire extinguishers were used to start those fires?
Exactly what I mean. Here's how they worked it. This entire tank is normally filled with a water and soda mixture. All the arsonist had to do was to replace it with clear water and add the raw phosphorus.
How did the stuff spread?
These small pieces of metal make that clear enough. He placed some kind of a detonator in the inner cylinder. When it went off, the whole thing blew up like a hand grenade, scattering the phosphorus over a wide area.
Exposed to air, it ignited and burned.
That's right.
A safety device used to start a fire. It's incredible.
But there it is. Oh, by the way, what was that you said about phosphorus?
I almost forgot. My office traced every buyer of phosphorus in the past 6 months. They all checked out except one, a fire extinguisher company.
Just doesn't figure, though, Paul. What would Crawford have to do with the fires? What would he have to gain? Fires would only hurt his business.
Maybe you're right. What about Hartman?
Hartman would be the only one in a position to benefit from those fires.
What would he have to do with the fire extinguishers?
Well, we don't know yet. But it's sure worth a try.
You bet it is. I'm going to have another talk with Maurice Leonard from the fur company. Maybe I can get a line that way.
Well, while you're at it, check at the branch office. I want you to go over every policy Hartman handled. Meanwhile, I'm going over to see him myself. I want to check on some of the other losses.
Well, good luck, boys.
All right, thank you. Something is bound to happen. Bye.
Mr. Garrett, come in. Come in.
Don't get up, Mr. Hartman. I just want a little information.
Certainly. Has anything turned up yet?
I'm afraid not. That's why I've come to see you.
Oh?
It's about those fires. I wonder if I may take your client's files.
Well, it's a little irregular.
Oh, I'd be sure and have everything returned to you.
Well, I'm just as anxious to get to the bottom of this as you are. I guess it's all right. Let me get the files.
Sure.
Here you are, Mr. Garrett. I think you'll find everything in order.
You don't know how much I appreciate this, Mr. Hartman. Thank you again.
Not at all.
So I thought you might be interested, Mr. Leonards. We know what caused the fire at your warehouse.
Oh, what was it?
I can't tell you just yet, but it clears you of any blame.
Well, that's some consolation. That $100,000 policy didn't begin to make up for what I lost.
I thought your policy covered you for $140,000.
No, it was only $100,000. You must have me confused with someone else.
Yeah, I suppose I have. You were paid off all right.
Oh, yes, the company's very prompt. Actually, I have so many policies with Mr. Hartman, I've given him power of attorney as far as my insurance is concerned. He handles everything for me, makes the payments, does all the paperwork.
I see. Well, I didn't mean to take up too much of your time, Mr. Leonards.
That's quite all right.
Thanks a lot, and I'll let you know what happens.
Uh-huh. When was this? Yeah. You're positive now. There's no mistakes. Right. Thank you very much. I just checked with the Bureau of Records. Alfred Hartman is listed as having an interest in the Zenith Fire Extinguisher Company. He bought in 2 years ago.
Wow. Then they must have been planning this for a long time.
Yeah, what did you come up with?
I talked to Leonards. Then I went through our files at the office, and you were right. Hartman's been pulling a double cross.
Well, if it'll stand up in court.
Leonards told me he was insured for $100,000, but the original contract calls for $140,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are payment of loss statements. Every client has to sign one of these before the company pays off. This is signed by Maurice Leonards.
But it gives the amount right here on the statement. When he signed this, Leonards must have seen it.
That's just it. He gave Hartman the power of attorney to handle all the paperwork.
Then Hartman's been paying the difference in the premiums himself. That's pretty neat. He's been making between $20,000 and $40,000 on each fire.
I've never heard of a deal like this before. But I know one thing, it'll never happen again. Paul, I want you to lower the boom on this guy, and the sooner the better.
Well, I'll see that a warrant is issued for his arrest. He'll be picked up immediately.
Do you want me to get this handwriting checked at the lab?
We can do that later. Right now, there's something more important to do.
What's that?
Well, those fire extinguishers. If Crawford has any more of them out, we've got to find them. Maybe we can stop a fire or save a few more lives. We'll pick up Reed on the way.
No one in the office.
Check the back. It's Hartman. Get him.
Come on, Buster. It's out. Newspapers and cardboard boxes. Looks like he was in a hurry to set fire to the building.
It's a nice little scheme you had cooked up, Hartman. Why did you try to burn down the building?
I had a lot of evidence in the place.
Well, that wouldn't have done you much good. We have the canceled checks from the insurance company. All the original contracts. You were a clever arsonist, but not much of a handwriting expert.
How did you find out?
Never mind that now. We want to know about those...
Hey, what's going on here, Collins? Why the police?
He doesn't know anything about it. I never took him in on the deal.
What deal? What are you talking about?
Your partner here has been starting a series of fires around town and then taking a cut of the insurance.
He's been using your fire extinguishers, Mr. Crawford. Placing a detonator inside and filling them with phosphorus.
What's impossible? I make all the deliveries myself.
I made out the tag, so you take the hot ones to the right places.
I hope you get everything that's coming to you, Hartman. What about the one I took out yesterday to the warehouse?
It's set to go off this afternoon.
You really must be crazy. That's right next door to Smithfield.
What about it?
It's a gunpowder factory. They make small arms ammunition.
Oh. Yeah.
Must be over a ton of powder in that place.
Take him down. We'll book him later. Where is it?
About 3 miles out of town.
A couple hundred people in that factory. It's locked. Let me have it. Okay, let's go. Over here. Take it easy, Frank. Get back. This is my job. I'll get the alarm. Get the fire department over here right away. Check.
Where's the detonator?
In the acid cylinder. All right, easy, Frank. Easy.
I'll get a bucket of water.
No time. We'll use the water in the tank. It'll minimize the explosion, but it's liable to go off any second. Let's get it out of here.
There's an empty lot out back.
Maybe I bet I got it. It's stuck. Set it down easy.
Pretty close. I never moved so fast in my life.
You would have moved a lot faster. Did you see what was inside?
No. What was it?
Live ammunition. Hello. I'm David Bryan. I hope you enjoyed Mr. District Attorney as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Next week, we have rather an exciting story. I think you'll like it.